What's up everyone, Nomadic Gaijin here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own Umeshu or Japanese plum wine. For starters, let's talk about ume. Ume is one of my favorites. These fruit generally ripen in June, so you have to get them in late May or early June, so when they look green like this. The tree that the ume fruit comes from, often called plum blossom in English, is a very beautiful tree with a lot of varieties and is often mistaken for cherry blossoms. Check it out. They originated in China, but were introduced to Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam, and other Asian countries. Most ume can't be eaten as is. It's a bit toxic. So instead, it's used to make ume products. In Japan, the most popular use is for umeboshi, which is a dried plum, ume syrup, ume jam, and umeshu. Ume has a range of health benefits, mostly good for your stomach and for your immune system. It also contains citric acid. And citric acid gives you more energy, so if you're really tired or you're dealing with the summer heat or you're hungover, it's a nice way to pick you up having some ume or umeboshi. In Japanese tradition, ume can actually fend off evil, so eating it for breakfast is a good way to have like a good luck charm throughout the day. It used to be part of traditional Japanese breakfasts, although these days it's seeing less and less popularity with young people. Anyways, around the end of May, supermarkets will get a section that looks like this, that has all the basics to make umeshu at home. You can actually use this setup to make a variety of fruit wines. For example, this garlic right here, which I would really like to try. That would be pretty crazy. Garlic wine. I don't know what that would taste like, but I do want to try making that sometime. Sounds interesting. I just want to say, as usual, I'm not promoting alcohol and I don't condone the use of it in illegal circumstances. If you're not allowed to drink, don't drink. So the process is pretty straightforward. I'll explain as I'm making it, but essentially you'll need at least a 20% or higher alcoholic content drink first. Making the size that I'm making is standard. You get the 1.5 liter of whatever alcohol that you choose. You're going to need 1 kilogram of ume. Last, you're going to need something to make it sweet. So I usually use honey or tensaito, but the standard is to use this rock sugar, and I'll talk a little more about this later. Alright, let's make some umeshu. Alright, we've got all the basic ingredients for making umeshu at home. We got the ume from Saitama. These look really good. You want to get them when they're all bright and green. Now, this is the typical kind of jar that you use for making fruit liqueur at home. There's different sizes, styles, and variety, but most of what you'll see at the markets or other places is this kind right here. And why I chose this particular one is the sticker on top. It says it's Nihonsei, or made in Japan. And that's really important because I've had one break and I've seen some online that leak because they weren't made well. So I want to make sure that it was done nicely, although it was quite cheap, so I don't know. I hope it's all right. It was about 600 yen, so that's pretty cheap. Anyways, that should be good. This is the white liquor. I prefer this one over using brandy or other alcohols because we're already adding something that's sweet, so I don't want it to be overly sweet. That's why I like the balance of having the white liquor. Most people will use this. There's also a brandy in a similar type of container, but that's just way too sweet when you combine it with honey or rock sugar. So for me, I'm really just gonna stick with this every time. Right here we've got korizato, which literally translates to ice sugar, but it's rock sugar. I mean, it does look like ice. I guess that's kind of cool. This is not what I usually use. I'll usually use honey, which I have here. If I have the resources and the time, I'll find some really good quality honey. But in this case, I just bought some from the supermarket. This one's from Germany, and this one I already had, and this is from Japan. I'm gonna mix them together, and hopefully that'll be really good. This one had some nice reviews online, so I think I've got a good chance of that. But I just like honey because honey is a little bit more nutritious, obviously, than just plain sugar, and it just has a really nice texture to it and taste. So I'll use that. But this is the standard, and I wanted to show that as well, so I'm gonna do both, and that's gonna be fun. Now, as I just said, I'm gonna make two different types. So I'm gonna make one in this red jar, and then I'm gonna make one in this sort of slightly easier kit version that they have. So I see these a lot these years, and what they do is it already has white liquor in it, and it's got all the recipes on the side, so it makes it really easy. All you got to add is something sweet and whatever fruit you're looking to make into a fruit liqueur. So it's pretty nice. All right, let's get started. The very first thing I'm going to do is check all the ume and take out any ones that are looking a little rotten or not so nice. I want the best of the best in here. And then I've got to rinse them. What I like to do instead of just rinsing is soak it for about 30 minutes. What that does is it helps get rid of any extra stuff on the outside, and it also makes it a little less bitter. So I hear, so they say online. I haven't been able to test whether it actually works or not since I've always done the soaking method, but I'm gonna keep doing it because I don't see any harm in it, and if anything, it should hopefully make it better. Now, while I'm soaking the ume, I'm gonna thoroughly dry the inside of this. I washed it a little bit earlier, but I wanna make sure there's no moisture inside, just to be safe. It'll be a lot better that way. After I finish soaking the ume, I'm going to take out all the stems with a little skewer, just like this. This is really important. You want to get all these out and then have just the ume going into the mix, and that would be much better. After I've added the ume to the jars, I'm going to add the white liquor and then the sweetener. So I haven't decided which one I'm going to do for which one, but I always wait till the last second for that. I don't know why. It's more exciting. All right, so the ume has been rinsed, soaked, stems have been taken out, and ready to make the umeshu. So first, I'm gonna take off the lid here. I decided to make this one with rock sugar because when you make it with the rock sugar, it's nice to kind of layer it. Ume, sugar, and so I thought that'd be easier with this one, and so that's what I'm gonna do. So we'll start by putting and then this bag recommends using the entire contents, a whole kilogram. I think that's way too much sugar. Online recipes vary. I've seen between about 500 and 800 grams. So I did it 650, sort of an in-between. So I'm gonna use that. The nice part of the rock sugar is that it's slow to dissolve. I think that helps the process a little bit. And then you always have a layer of ume on the bottom and a layer on top, which kind of sandwich it in there. All right, and then the last thing I'll add is the white liquor. In this really fancy cardboard box. And here we go. And there it is. Now it's really clear right now, and the plums are green. But check this out. The plums start off really nice like this, and then they turn into something like this. It's quite a difference, actually. I'll pop that in there. And then it should look something like this when it's finished, and has a really very nice smell. And that's it. So. There you go, sealed, and one is done. Next up we have the Easy Home Kit. So I'm gonna pop this one open. All right. I don't want to take, you can take all this off really easily, which is nice, but I don't want to take it off yet since it has all the nice pictures. All right, it's got a nice little cap on it. That's protecting the lid. Okay, another nice thing about this type is you don't have to wash the bottle. It's already washed, it's already clean, it's filled with the stuff, so, but you can't layer with this one, which is the only downside. I mean, I guess you could empty it and then layer and refill it, but that's kind of defeating the purpose of having this almost instant type. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drop these in here. Big mess. All right, and then we are going to, I'm gonna add the Japanese honey first. This is 95 grams. I'm gonna use all of this. The seal was broken. Uh-oh. Feeling a little bit lazy here, so I'm just gonna add as much as I feel like. I'm meant to add about 250 grams of honey, and I already put 95 in, so man, I'm just gonna pour as much as I feel like. Could probably add a little bit more than that. And that's enough. Okay. There we go. That was probably a bit more than I was supposed to add, but it should be pretty good. Oh. Can't forget the lid. All right. And that's it. It's pretty simple. It takes a little bit of work with the ume. You've got to take out any damaged ones. Rinse them or soak them if you need to, and then take out the stems and dry them really well. They should be completely dry when you put them inside. It's pretty easy, you know, just adding something sweet and some alcohol, and that's it. It'll change a lot over time. Here's the thing is you have to pretty much keep an eye on it. It's recommended once a week or so, just giving the bottle a little shake. Some people do it every day. And there it is. So the ideal is to leave the ume in the umeshu for about a year. Around that time you kind of have to keep an eye on it, make sure the liquid's not getting a little cloudy, but then you take them out. What I like to do is put them in the freezer because they make a great treat in summer. You just take it out and enjoy it. It's nice and ice cold, and don't eat too many at once because they are a bit strong still. If you have the patience for it, you can actually wait a few years. It gets really good. I had the privilege of trying one that was made in 1995, so 25-year-old homemade umeshu, and it was incredible. I've never had anything like it, but I don't think I have the patience to wait 25 years for an umeshu to taste that good, so I don't think I'll be able to make that, but maybe I'll try at some point to stick one under the house and see if it can go for a long time, maybe. But anyways, it's worth it. One more thing to consider. You may want to get some umeshu at a store after seeing this at a Japanese market or order online. Just be careful of this one point. Make sure it says honkaku umeshu. That means it was made with real plum. A lot of companies will make a fake version with sometimes natural essence, but a lot of times artificial ingredients or just flavorings, things like that. So if you want real umeshu with the real benefits that come along with it, you should make sure it says honkaku umeshu. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you ever get a chance, it may be difficult outside of Japan to find the fresh ume, but you might be able to at certain markets, or you might be able to get it imported. However you get a hold of it, definitely give it a try. But this recipe also works with other fruit. Yeah, I put some links below to some Japanese sites with some recipes, and I also put a link to my blog, which has the recipes that I talked about today. So if you want to see that all in one place, you can just go there. Had a lot of fun making umeshu today. I hope you get a chance to make it sometime, or if you have, please write in the comments section. Let me know what's worked really well for you. I'd love to try some new recipes. As always, your eyes in Japan, Nomadic Gaijin.